Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. Government sends condolences to the family of Trinidadian scholar killed in Nairobi, Kenya. The Prime Minister reaffirms her commitment to the people of this country on the eve of the country's 37th anniversary as a republic. And His Excellency the President addresses the 2013 matriculation of students at the University of the West Indies. Thank you for joining us. To our top story, Prime Minister the Honourable Kamla Persad-Bissessar has extended condolences to the family of Trinidadian scholar Ravindra Ramaratan, who was killed in a terrorist attack in a shopping mall in Nairobi, Kenya on Sunday. Mr. Ramaratan, who had been working as a research analyst with the World Bank in Nairobi since September 2011, lived at Monroe Road, Canopia, and attended Presentation College, Chaguanas, where he won the President's Medal in 2002, having received distinctions in mathematics, chemistry, physics, and general paper. The Honourable Prime Minister stated that it is with deep sadness that she offers condolences to the family of this bright son from Trinidad and Tobago. She referred to the many nationals of Trinidad and Tobago living and working around the world and recalled September 11, 2001, when the towers of the World Trade Center in New York were attacked. 14 Trinidad and Tobago nationals died in that attack, and each year the United States Embassy in Port of Spain holds a memorial for them. At least 68 people were killed by Somali Al-Shabaab Islamists during the attack on the upmarket Westgate Mall, and more than 175 persons injured. These include several tourists from various countries around the world. The assault was the biggest single attack in Kenya since Al-Qaeda's East Africa cell bombed the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi in 1998, killing more than 200 people. In other news, on the occasion of Trinidad and Tobago's 37th Republican anniversary, the Honourable Prime Minister has reaffirmed her commitment to the people of this country and to the demonstration of a new style of politics.
Prime Minister the Honourable Kamla Persad-Bissessar is calling on citizens to walk and work with her to continue building a nation where everyone has the same opportunities. In the Prime Minister's Republic Day message, Mrs. Persad-Bissessar noted that 37 years ago the country chose a path to development with a new constitution that allowed citizens to elect the country's own head of state along with internal self-government according to a new set of rules that gave greater confidence to the young state, yet maintained its connection to former colonial leaders through the Commonwealth. The Honourable Prime Minister said that today the world has changed dramatically and globalization has created the need for countries across our planet to change the way they conduct themselves. For this reason, she noted that citizens have seen a new participatory approach adopted to conducting the affairs of the state since 2010, in which everyone is involved. Mrs. Persad-Bissessar gave the assurance that her government is heeding the calls of citizens for the new style of politics in which the government is engaged. One that is based on inclusivity, discussion, and consensus, and as such, the government is firmly committed to creating a political system that recognizes all citizens as equal members of a just society in which no one would ever face any manner of discrimination. In this national conversation, she said we must work together as one family and discuss differences openly and respectfully, always keeping in mind that we are seeking the best for all the citizens of our blessed homeland, not partisan interests. Mrs. Persad-Bissessar pledges to continue to lead the nation towards this new political reality. She says it is an era marked by accountability, equality, and delivery to citizens now and always. The Honourable Prime Minister notes that the time for politics of self-interest is over, and she promises that while she remains the country's leader, she would always put the interest of citizens above everything else, and those who serve the nation in her government must follow that rule. Mrs. Persad-Bissessar says the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago must demand of all who seek to represent them that they put aside personal interest and serve them and their community faithfully. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Thousands of local, regional and international students were welcomed to the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus to pursue programs which will assist them in achieving many of their goals.
Young persons across Trinidad and Tobago are taking full advantage of the government's Assistance for Tuition Expenses program. For the year 2013-2014, the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus enrolled an approximate 5,000 students. On Thursday, the UWI campus held its 2030 matriculation ceremony at the JFK Quadrangle, thereby accepting the responsibility of preparing tomorrow's leaders today.
The University of the West Indies is our window to unending opportunity. It is a catalyst to spark our dreams and successes into possibilities. With every new student comes a new heartbeat of passion, drive, and energy. With every new student, there's a new mind exploding with innovation and imagination.
The new students seemed eager to begin their new journey at the university, which will differ tremendously from their primary and secondary school lives. Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Clement Sankat, encouraged the students to be the best that they could be and seek to go beyond the pursuit of a degree. He called on them to enhance their morals and values such as honesty, integrity, fairness, compassion, goodwill, caring for the environment and for the less fortunate.
Yes, this matriculation ceremony represents an important rite of passage for you, our students, as it marks your transition into a new chapter in your lives. But what I like most about our matriculation ceremonies is that it is an occasion when we formally welcome into the university community the future leaders of our country and region. Let me say, welcome to you for the rest of your lives into this UWI community. As you heard from the president of the treasurer of the Alumni Association, today you're undergraduate students, tomorrow you're graduates, and for the rest of your lives, I want you to wear that UWI badge as alumni very, very proudly.
The university acknowledged the achievements of 10 students who excelled at the secondary entrance assessment examination and who have now moved on to their first choice secondary schools. Another highlight of the ceremony was the recognition of current student Jehu Gordon, who has been excelling in the field of sports, especially in recent weeks. Attending the ceremony was UWI alumnus, His Excellency President Anthony Thomas Aquinas Carmona, who is the first president to speak at the matriculation ceremony, which is now in its 11th year. His Excellency spoke of how university life could prepare one for the real world and the importance of building character during the students' time at UWI.
Here at university, there are persons of varying ability, and it is a sad truth that students are often content to watch others stumble and not offer assistance. This is both unfortunate and ironic, since in the working world, success is often defined by how well one can work with others. Why not begin changing that mindset while you're here? Students who work as a team will make it to the finish line and graduate together, not leaving anyone behind.
The president spoke of the many potential challenges that may confront students during this time in their lives, and he called on them to be resilient and create relationships that would make the experience easier. UWI St. Augustine offers a cultural mix of students from various regional and international countries who recognize the university as being the premier institution in the region. The students will on average spend 3 years at the university to complete their undergraduate degree programs, following which they can then move on to other relevant programs in their upward progression. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
When we come back, plans for tackling crime. Thank you for staying with us. National Security Minister Captain Gary Griffith unveiled his plans for tackling crime through a number of strategic measures. During his contribution to the budget debate, the minister says a boost in offshore patrols as well as aerial surveillance are on the drawing board as crime-fighting tactics.
New national security measures will begin to roll out, starting with beefed-up offshore patrols utilizing all Coast Guard vessels. The recently installed National Security Minister, Gary Griffith, speaking in the Lower House on Wednesday, unveiled plans to utilize resources from the now disbanded Special Anti-Crime Unit of Trinidad and Tobago, together with all arms of the national security, including the police, Defence Force and Coast Guard. The minister described these steps as being mechanized measures for implementation.
Lockdown could only be effective if there's proper communication, Mr. Speaker. Proper communication must take place through an operations center when each and every arm of the law enforcement agencies can work together, communicate with each other, and be able to work to have successful operations. Therein lies the difference between the Special Anti-Crime Unit and the National Security Operations Center. And again, as I said, this is not. The Special Anti-Crime Unit had very important aspects which we intend to keep, because we must never throw the baby with the bathwater when we intend to fight crime.
These measures are expected to put a dent in Trinidad and Tobago's role in the transshipment of drugs. He explains that these measures will seek to facilitate the posting of vessels along a 2-mile radius from Trinidad and Tobago's coastline.
We intend to put Coast Guard installations strategically placed in specific areas to ensure that the interceptors know they can be moored and they can lock down that area of responsibility 360 degrees throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And not just what the OPV might have done, being in one area 12 to 200 miles offshore, securing our exclusive economic zone, but not securing the other arms and the other aspects of Trinidad and Tobago shore.
The National Security Minister says devices will soon be installed inside police vehicles for the monitoring of their movements.
The Rapid Response Unit would involve specific vehicles assigned in 15 regions earmarked throughout the country. There will be 3 or 4 vehicles in each region, depending on the area of responsibility and the threat assessment. Those vehicles will be assigned and it must remain in that area, Mr. Speaker. It is basically then it's going to lock into it. How it is we can be assured that these vehicles will remain in their area of responsibility, because each of these vehicles will have GPS on them. Through the National Security Operations Center, we can then pinpoint and monitor the movement of these vehicles. So the talks that we have heard so many years that when you call a police station, the police will say that they have no vehicles, there's no one to drive the vehicles, or we'll see police vehicles going to high-low or whatever. These vehicles will be specifically assigned to that area of responsibility.
Under these changes, the minister proposes new policies for monitoring criminal activities through aerial surveillance.
Those policies will vary from looking at aerial surveillance and having proper intelligence gathering. Again, the concept of the blimp, it was in the right direction. But moving into the 21st century, unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, I heard someone call WMERA drone, but drones, that is what we are speaking about, drones. The drones are very important where it can provide that replacement for the blimp and can undoubtedly assist in improving the aerial surveillance and that intelligence that is required to provide to the law enforcement officers on the ground. And it again goes with the importance of the National Security Operations Center.
The minister added that training will be provided for members within the security service and entails virtual simulation as well as the use of non-lethal types of force such as rubber bullets, water cannons and taser guns. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Minister of the Environment and Water Resources, Senator the Honourable Angus Singh, says by the end of 2014, everyone in the sister Isle of Tobago will receive water all day, every day, while Trinidad is also on track to that achievement.
Minister Singh gives this assurance as he commissions the Chin Chin Road pipeline project in Cunupia. He says the goal of water for all is achievable given the plan by the Water and Sewage Authority to renew and expand the water supply infrastructure. He highlights some of the key infrastructural projects WASA has undertaken to address nationwide water issues.
Water treatment facilities were constructed at La Villette, Talparo, Pinal, Matura and Point Fortin across the length and breadth of this country. In addition, wells were drilled in Freeport, Valsayn, Point Fortin, Chatham, Cap de Ville and Louis D'Or in Tobago to address deficits in supply. These projects put an additional 8.4 million gallons daily into the network for distribution to customers. To continue the initiative to have more water available, WASA is currently pursuing the drilling and equipping of 6 wells in Point Fortin, Port of Spain, and Santa Cruz. This will supply an additional 800,000 gallons of water daily into the system. The desalination company is working towards increasing water production at Point Lisas by 10 million gallons, which will be injected into the system in central Trinidad by 2014.
Mr. Singh says newly drilled wells in Point Fortin, Port of Spain and Santa Cruz, along with the desalination plants at Point Lisas and Point Fortin, should add 15.4 million gallons of water daily into the water system. The Water Resources Minister says all these projects have allowed for an almost 300% increase in the number of persons receiving a steady supply of pipe-borne water.
In 2010, only 18% of the country was receiving a 24/7 supply. Yet, only 3 years after, with the investment, with innovation, with leadership, and with the kind of inspiration of the employees of the Water and Sewerage Authority, together with their dedicated and passionate hard work, we have reached 49% receiving 24/7. So look at the gap we have traversed. And then now you have 78% getting 24/5. So water for all then, for us, is within arm's length of achieving.
Minister Singh reveals Tobago will within the next year enjoy water for all its residents.
Upgrade of the transmission system in Tobago continues with the installation of a new transmission main between Bacolep and Signal Hill. In Tobago, 69% of the population now have 24/7 water supply. 7 days a week, 24-hour supply, night and day. And 83% of the population receive 5 hours, 5 days per week water supply, 24/7, so that they get 24 hours supply for 5 days a week. And with 2 projects, all of Tobago will now receive before the end of this fiscal year, will receive water for all with those 2 projects. Tobago will receive for the first time in the history of Trinidad and Tobago in 2014, water for all. All of Tobago receiving 24/7.
The Chin Chin Road Pipeline project will benefit almost 10,000 residents in surrounding communities. It will now provide most communities around Cunupia with water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, while several communities will receive a pipe-borne supply of water 24 hours a day for 5 days a week. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
When we come back, our sport report. Stay with us. When the first round of the Blink B Mobile National Super League ends on Republic Day, Club Sando will be in sole possession of first place on the points table as their nearest rivals, Guaya United, faltered on the weekend. Wayne Cunningham has all the scores from match 13.
Guaya United were hoping to end their first round in the National Super League with a win when they travelled to Tobago and met 1976 FC Phoenix, but won done 2-1 by the home team. Dominic Kerr opened the scoring for Phoenix in the 32nd minute, but the prolific Carlon Hughes found an equalizer for Guaya in the 70th. The winner came off the boot of Leandro Williams 3 minutes later, and that strike put Terry Williams and his men in 4th spot with a game in hand. Another team from the Sister Isle did not have such good news at home though, as Bethel United fell to the Defence Force 3-1. A double from Javon Neptune and one from Keron Bruno did the trick for the military, while Keron Williams got a late consolation for Bethel as they dropped into the relegation zone. 2 teams also in the bottom 4, Siparia Spurs and Wassa FC, met in the Deep South and played to a 1-1 draw. After a 0-0 first half, Fabian Garcia got the opener for the Watermen, which was looking like a winner until Daniel Garcia grabbed an equalizer in the final minute. There was also a 1-1 draw in Macoya, where Joe Public FC hosted fellow Easterners FC Santa Rosa. Ellis Diet scored in the 52nd minute for the Eastern Lions. Then in the 78th, Devon King secured a much-needed point for Keith Lucloy's team. It did not help their position on the points table though. Joe Public stays in 7th. Just above them in 8th is Real Maracas, who put on a goal-scoring clinic in their valley versus Westside Superstars. A hat-trick from Dylan Bartholomew, 2 from Jahan Hernandez, and 1 apiece from Frankie Castillo and Shaquille Smith, without reply, gave Roger Henry's team this 7-0 victory. Also registering 7 goals were their fellow Easterners Malabar FC, with a hat-trick from Steven Stout, a brace from Kevin Woodley, and one from Jamil Neptune, as well as Julio Noel, as Malabar grabbed sole possession of 2nd place. Despite being idle, Club Sando will end the first round at the top of the standings. But Guayao United has a chance to overhaul Malabar when they complete their first round with a match versus the Defence Force on Republic Day. On that day, there will also be an enticing clash in Tobago when Phoenix hosts Maracas. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
News 4 continues after the break. Despite being on the opposite sides of the political fence, Congress of the People founder and Foreign Affairs Minister, the Honourable Winston Dukaran, saw it fit to honour former Tunapuna PNM Member of Parliament and former Sports Minister Eddie Hart for the contribution he has made to his constituency.
As we acknowledge our icons, and as we continue to build on the rich history of Tunapuna, which has been a source of great strength for Trinidad and Tobago, we do so today by honoring in such a dramatic way our friend Eddie Hart.
He says the COP has always been promoting new politics and added that he established with his colleagues the view of making politics different, crossing the barriers of the past. Minister Dukaran says it was very natural to choose the former MP for Tunapuna, who has done well and who, on his own merit, requires an award. Winston Dukaran, who is also MP for Tunapuna, and members of his constituency office, organized a play by producer and actor Raymond Chukong on the life of Hart, depicting parts of his life from the time he was born to when his mother gave him up for adoption so he could get a better life from a well-to-do family. Hart's mother worked in the cane fields and would leave him at the St. Mary's Orphanage while she toiled away in the blazing sun or torrential rains, trusting that the caregivers at the orphanage would treat her son well. She was very pleased, or so did the narration by actress Patty Ann Ali indicated. The play, Zero to Gold, was also the inaugural play to launch the opening of the community theatre at the Moonlighting Restaurant and Pub, number 137 Eastern Main Road, Tunapuna.
So, what happened to your little boy when you had to work?
Well, in those days, we did not have any sort of highfalutin thing like daycare or aftercare. So, we lived in the Orange Grove Barracks, and the only place to take the child was the Tacarigua Orphanage. That was the only option for the ladies and I on the sugar estate. It was never easy to leave my little one, but those people took good care of my boy.
Eddie Hart said he appreciated Dukaran's idea to honor him and hoped that leaders in other communities would follow suit to honor their own contributors to society.
I'm deeply touched this evening at this function, and let me hasten to this thanks to the Honorable Mr. Winston Dukaran, whose vision it was, whose idea it was to think about honoring me here this afternoon.
He adds there are so many people who have done so much and died without being recognized. He says this just goes to show that God is real, He is majestic, and He is all-powerful.
This is for every one of you. Without you, I would not have been able to achieve the thing that I have achieved. So all you wonderful people who have stood up with me through thick and thin, through the rough times and the good times, I want to say again, a sincere thanks to you.
In 2012, Hart received the Hummingbird Medal Silver for his loyal and dedicated service to Trinidad and Tobago in the sphere of community service. Hart is the second person to be honored by Dukaran. Dr. Clifford Ramcharan was honored for his service to politics, while Dukaran dedicated his recent book, Power, Politics and Performance, to the memory of Lloyd Best, a noted Caribbean scholar from Tunapuna. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.